born of destruction, of insatiable bloodlust. We are his savagery incarnate, the epitome of brutality. Rewarded for our ferocity. Join our relentless hunt, enact the wrath of the Blood God. Unleash your fury. Blood for the Blood God. Skulls for the Skull Throne.
Oh yeah. Let's do a stream. Let's do some fun. So before we get started, guys, as always, you know how it is. You know that I am a man of very little virtue. So make sure you check out, boom, Sneak Energy. This stream is brought to you by the lovely Bunny. If you're going to be lopping heads off for the Skull Throne and taking blood and all that action, you're going to need some Sneak Energy to get it done. Head on over to sneakenergy.com and use creator code SPARTY at checkout to help support the channel. But let's have some fun. Let's watch a video. Okay, so we're on to the stream. So here's what we're going to be doing today, guys. We're going to go through the Tzeentch roster. Is everything good? Everything looks okay? Hey, why don't I press this button? Boom! Now I got a little bit less color to my skin. We're going to go over the Tzeentch roster, and then we're going to go through a battle in the realm of Tzeentch, showing off Khorne and Tzeentch. I'm going to shut down the webcam for this portion so you guys can see everything. If there's anything you want me to stop and look at, anything like that, go ahead and let me know. Previously when I did this, I did record it separately. I'm just not going to do that this time. We're not going to have a terribly long stream here today. It'll probably be maybe an hour, whatever it is. But we're going to go through the roster first. We're going to talk about all the little tidbits of Tzeentch. At the end, if you guys want me to, we can go through Khorne's roster. I'll run a poll, and if you guys want that, we can do it. Just let me know at the end of the video. What is up, though, to the rest of the chat here? We got a lot of people jumping in. You're not a part of the roster. I am the roster. You know, according to legend, though, I'm Slaanesh. And I've always identified more with Khorne, and I like Tzeentch a lot. And I absolutely hate Slaanesh. But the way that I talk in like colloquialisms and my vernacular, it's pretty Slaanesh-y. I'm always like, who's horny? We'll just get some fucking weird shit going here. Like, oh, guys, that's not very Khorne-like. That's super Slaanesh-y. Let's have some fun here. Again, I'm just going to shut the webcam off so you guys can see the unit cards and everything. I don't want to detract from that from you. As denoted, though, this is all in development. Everything has the possibility to change, these unit stats, the cards, what you're seeing on the actual map itself. So please just be mindful of that. This was sent to us by Creative Assembly. Big Daddy Josh was able to create a lot of this for us. You need more sun in your life? Jeff, I actually get a ton of sun in my life, but I have a white light that's bouncing light off of me. So I look just pale. I actually like every day when I get done with okay, come on, man, come on, let's just go ahead. After I get done here, like working and everything, I literally go lay out in the sun around like 4 p.m. So the UV whatever the hell it's called is really low UV index, but I cover my chrome dome in SPF 55 and I just lay in the sun for like an hour. I go have a cat nap. Like, I don't give a shit. I love it. Look like a vampire count? Thank you! Almost as nice as the one person who said, Jesus Christ, you look like a space marine. I was like, that's pretty cool. All right, so shut this webcam off so you guys can see the unit cards in their entirety. We're just going to press play, let this roll through, and we'll talk about things. If you have a specific question, please do at Italian Spartacus so that I can see it. It pulls my eyes a little bit a little bit easier, like looking at Sagittarius A, who I am also a Sagittarius. You are not a part of the roster. I am not. And SSMCS said you look like a vampire count. It's easier for me to see that. But Grandpa Nurgle here throwing a €5 donation to start us off. Will we see Scarbrand in game? He has little to no screen time so far. I think he's in this. Turn the cam back on. I was almost finished. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I think that's Scarbrand. Well, we'll find out in a bit. I think he's in this battle. I honestly, I haven't looked through any of this. I wanted just to do it live with you guys. I figured it'd be more fun this way. So let's go through this. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit so the whole time we don't hear like... So let's get going here. So here are, starting off with the blue horrors of Tzeentch. Let's see what they got. Let's see what they're doing here. So looking real quick, we got, you expect it to have no, very little melee attack and defense, right? But we can see that it's going to be shooting flaming attacks, and it is also going to be doing magic attacks with the blue horrors right now. Interestingly enough, though, only 5 ammunition on these. But this is the melee one, right? This is the one that's supposed to be considered the one that's going to be jumping up and doing some damage. So it's got a very limited range on it too. Not very limited range. I thought that range said 21. So that's a pretty low range. So range of 90, which is actually not terrible. Missile strength 21. And let's take a look at those little passive stats. Causes fear, as we would expect. Hide. It's going to have a physical resist of 20% on top of its 5 armor and 22 melee defense. So, of course, not the tankiest boy in the room, but it's still got a 20% physical resist. Then we get demonic instability. So no, remember guys, we saw this with Khorne, but demonic instability in tabletop worked very similar to the way that the undead work. Rather than actually fleeing, they lose models. So here's the same thing here. It causes damage to the self if they are demonic instability, leadership is broken, and then if leadership is shattered, then it goes to banished. And look at the damage per second, 132 to 264 if it's passive ability. I'm sorry, if it's leadership is broken, but if shattered, 798 to 1500 per second. So in the mid range, if this thing was at full health and became quote unquote shattered, which of course it would not, it would die in 7 seconds. Just to give you a juicy idea of how potent that is. Well, maybe 8. Moving on to our next unit here, we get the pink horrors of Tzeentch. Now these ones are the actual ranged ranged guys here. Well, I guess they're more hybrid, but they were put in the actual roster as ranged. And if we look at their stat card here, just a little bit further back, there we go. We can see that they've actually got, comparing them, a little bit better stats here, right? I think there was right there. Perfect. There we go. So we can see the pink horrors, pink horrors compared to the blue horrors right there. There's your difference, right? You're getting 40 more range, you're getting 7 more missile strength, you're getting 15 more ammunition, which is crucial, of course. You're doing everything across the board is better, but you're losing some health. You even get more armor, which is pretty cool, right? And these are supposed to be considered, yes, absolutely. Someone asked, shouldn't pink horrors be twice as good as blue horrors? And yes, they are supposed to be in the tabletop. So it's interesting to see that they are marked as missile infantry when they should really just be maybe just, you know, normal melee infantry with the hybrid portion. I don't know. I guess the fact that they do have more ammunition, longer range, and better missile strength, they want them to be more of a missile unit and use the blue horrors as chaff to be eaten up. But it's cool to see all that right there. So you have a good little stat breakdown of how the blue and the pink horrors differentiate. Let's go ahead and keep going. Cause fear. Same physical resistance. And then the demonic instability. Oh, good call right there. They have half unit size, so each model still have more. Wait, what do you mean? They both have 80 in the unit. Oh, no, they don't. I'm looking at, there's the blue horror. Okay, I see what you're saying. Sagittarius says they have half the unit size. So yes, rather than having 160 of the blue, the pinks have 80. So each model still have more health. Good call. Very good shout out right there. So here are the exalted pinkies. Did we actually get, did he show Oh, cool. So here's your difference between yeah, that's your difference between the normal pink and the exalted pink horrors. Do you think we will get the pink horrors dying, spawning blue ones in the future? I would love that, Hitman Mole. Malone. But missile strength a little bit better. We get a better charge bonus, whatever. More weapon strength, much better melee defense at 38. We get a nice big melee attack at 30, 10 more leadership, and 10 more armor. So that's pretty interesting. They also have another passive ability right there. So let's take a look at that. In fact, guys, you know, I'll probably, if you guys want, I can take pictures of these and put them on Reddit. I'm sure people would want to see the differences, right? Showing the little the differences from each unit. Okay, so causes fear, hides in forest, of course. So what is this? Arcane Mirth. So power recharge for Winds of Magic is increased by 20% as long as this guy is out of combat. That's pretty spicy. Jonathan Kelly requesting feet pics. The next $50 donation gets to see some feet pics on the webcam. All right, so now we're into the Forsaken of Tzeentch. I unfortunately don't have the Forsaken unit card up. Let me get here. Warhammer 2 Forsaken. Let me see if I can grab it really quick. The one on the wiki is always kind of wonkopotamus. Okay, so health per model is 92 with a unit size of 60. So it looks like the standard Forsaken. There's 20 more than the standard Forsaken here. And I'm looking at the wiki, so this might be a little off or wrong. I apologize if my information's wrong here. In addition, health is 92 per model. So this is going to be 92 times 60 equals 5,520. So I wonder if 7,360 takes into account their barrier. I don't know if it's added into that total pool or if you hover over it and it shows you the difference. Oh, 60 large, 80 ultra. Good call there, Blue Sky Brings Tears. The same number of models. Okay, good call, good call. I always forget about the large, ultra, and all that crap. Yes, those are tier rank, and I have only seen them. I think there was actually 4 maybe in the unit cards for Kislev when we saw that in the previous battle. And I can check those. I have them all saved. I can look at after the fact. But 2 less weapon strength. The Tzeentch version has magic attack. Well, there you go. Noah Nevet just helping out right there. So everything else for the most part is there. We get Hide in Forest. We get Immunopsychology. We get Frenzy. And it's looking like spell resistance of 40%. Which, of course, the standard variation doth not have. Moving into the Flamers. Though, dude, look at those Flamers. That's so sick. Now, they do have their new Warp Flame ability, right? That's going to allow... how do barriers work? Is it based on maxed health? Is it just the same value for all units? Does max barrier go down when health model numbers go down? So, Old Raven, if you've ever played StarCraft, the barrier acts as a shield like the Protoss have. So, the barrier will get eaten first before the health does. Once the barrier explodes... they start chunking into health, but the barrier regenerates as long as they're out of combat. We do not yet know, or at least I personally do not yet know, what barrier is based off of. If it's a percentage of total health, if it's a flat number amount of like, say, 600, but we do know it can be increased by spells, by unit abilities, by lord capabilities, stuff like that. So there are ways to increase the barrier. So we'll see if Josh here goes over Warp Flame. But we have Causes Fear. We might have to jump back a little bit. Physical resistance 20%, and then the same demonic instability. Go over it. Yeah. Do it. Yeah, there we go. So there is weakness to fire of 11%, and armor of -15. That is what Warp Flame does. So this is something that you're going to be really using a lot because you're going to be trying to stack Warp Flame on as many things as possible because everything in your army does flaming attacks. Take a look at the damage profile on this guy, right? So AP, Warp Flame, magic, flaming attacks coming out of the Flamer itself, with its melee attack being the same thing for the exception of armor-piercing damage. Are we getting to see Skarbrand today? He might be in the roster. Well, you guys want to take a look at the Khorne roster right after this? It seems like a lot of you want to see Skarbrand, and I'm totally fine to show that first before the battle. So if you want to see that, just type in yes in chat. Just everyone say yes if you want to see the roster for Khorne, and we can check to see if he's there. Now, the Exalted Flamer Same thing pretty much as your other flamer. Maybe we can get a little breakdown of the stats differences. Of course, you know, we're talking about a single entity versus a whole unit. Okay. Okay, we'll take a look. I see you guys want to see Scar Brand. So after we finish the Tzeentch roster, we'll quickly take a look at the Big Daddy roster. So here is the Exalted Flamer. Of course, remember, single entity, so the missile strength is going to be very substantial, but at 1.4k at a 90 range, that's pretty nice here for a unit that still has a speed of 50. I can't fly. I was looking to see if it had any of the fly characteristic buttons, you know, being able to take off or fly. Because we see in the trailer, it kind of has this ability to hover or look like it does actually fly. So it doesn't look like the Exalted Flamer of Tzeentch flies. So that is good to know. Causing fear, the new wounds mechanic. Remember, guys, so as soon as hit points drop below 50%, it's going to be losing it's going to get a debuff to AP, to weapon damage, and to speed. But yeah, man, this could, someone did, yeah, Mick Rightface just nailed it right there, saying this thing is a Luminarch. He is going to be just shooting down range at things. And remember, that Warp Flame is really going to make this have exploding damage. You really want to stack as much Warp Flame in this army. Well, not stack Warp Flame, but basically make sure that any hard target has Warp Flame on it before you just focus it down. Thoughts on range on range balance from what we've seen so far? You know what? I'll be honest with you. It's pretty spicy to see how completely devastating Tzeentch's range capabilities look to be. But the caveat is their range is very low, like someone just said. It's like 90 to 130. That's the two that we keep seeing, and they've got little to no capability to really hold the front line outside of Forsaken and Chaff. So it's going to be very interesting to see how you're going to be constantly on the move, I feel, with the Tzeentchy boys. So we have the Spawns of Tzeentch. That's Sunder Armor melee attack icon? I can't tell. Yeah, Armor Sundering. Right there. So these spawns are going to be pretty nice. Armor Sundering, they got their barrier. Immune to Psych, and weapon strength of 130. You know, typical kind of spawn, but that Armor Sunderer, that's going to be pretty nice. Yeah, you know, a lot of people were kind of complaining about the Khorne ones. The Khorne ones were fine, right? They're red with the little bulldog head on it, the bull head. That's all it needed to be. Tzeentch ones look just fine too to me. This is what I want them to look like, right? This color scheme is pretty beautiful. Could always use more tentacles. So here's our Chaos Furies here. 36 melee attack. That is also, what's it called? Magic damage, which is cool. Let's take a look at that other little passive ability that they get. Causing Fear, Vanguard Deployment, of course. What's this little guy? Oh, so they can fly. So now there's an actual thing that says unit can fly. Because remember now, take a look right here, guys. It can land. And this is not like the landing in Troy. It will go directly down. The landing in Troy, it kind of hovers forward and down, and then walks a little forward and steps back. It's very jankety. The actual flying mechanic in Warhammer 3 isn't up down. It's just they'll take off from where they are and they'll land from where they are. And again, demonic instability. 530 bros here watching here today, guys. Please make sure you are liking the stream. Dude, look at this face. Look at that abominable face. Good Lord. That is a face of regret. Oh, that is a face of an absentee landlord. Oh my God. That is a face of a man who's going through a Jack-in-the-Box drive-thru at 4:30 in the morning after having had way too much peppermint schnapps. So make sure you're liking the stream, guys. It does actually help me out a lot more than you would think. It basically promotes the stream out to the rest of the platform a lot more. Don't insult them, they're cute. I've insulted whatever I wish, thank you very much. Yeah, the screamers are so done with everything. Like, oh, you had a pandemic? Don't care. Oh, you got a microchip shortage? Nah, whatever. Look at that fucking thing. But looking at its, oh, I like that this is an anti-large flying creature. Of course, its armor is going to be really low, and I find that pretty brutal because it does have a pretty good speed at 85, though, at least. So, can you speak from that last experience? Yes, absolutely, I can. That does not look like me after eating Taco Bell. I can tell you that when I go to Taco Bell, I drop bare minimum $15 to $20, and I am extremely happy afterward because I am constantly dieting. Please be nice to this guy, Flap. He's doing his best. Thank you very much, Adam Cutler. Huge $10 donation from you, man. Appreciate it. Largest donation of the day. Screamers being anti-large is matching tabletop, isn't it? I don't recall. Let's take a look. For I have... Oops. Don't mind that. Codex. Fantasy. You know, it's funny because... the books that I read the least are the books that are in this version of the game, Warhammer 3. There was no anti-large in tabletop. Let me make that distinction, for one. But I'm going to get, hopefully, to the gist of what you meant. I did not play Demons of Khorne. I mean, Chaos Demons. I did not play Ogre Kingdoms. I played against them a lot as High Elves, especially the Chaos Demons, because that was like a pretty big competitive one. Pink Fire, Exalted Demon, Burning Chariots of Tzeentch, Screamers and Discs of Tzeentch. Lamprey's Bite. Close combat attacks of a Screamer makes a target model with large target special will have the multiple wounds. But interesting. So yeah, that would be, if you wanted to look at it and go, oh, what's a 1-to-1 for this? That would definitely be a anti-large. So it means that anytime they attack a large target, it does multiple wounds to it. Let's take a look. I'll show you guys over here so you can see. There you go. Lamprey's Bite. Also, slashing attack. If a unit of Screamers moves over one or more unengaged enemy units in the remaining move sub-phase, choose one of those units, it suffers D3 strength attacks per Screamer. These attacks are on a hit or a forward sheet is shooting. Interesting. Okay. Screamer's the new Ripperdactyl. I mean, yeah. So, and that's a really good point here, Right Face. He said still pretty squishy because they do have a pretty low health pool at 16. Let's get that. I don't know if that includes barrier or not. That's a huge thing for me, right? So what we got? 257 health per model at 85 speed, so at least they'll be able to get into combat quick, but their melee attack and defense is quite low, and it's worth noting that their armor at 20 makes it a little bit harder for them to stay alive, in my opinion. And we don't know how fast that shield recovers. I would imagine it's about the same amount of time for regeneration to kick in, and I think regeneration is 4 or 5 seconds outside of combat. Someone please correct me on that. They do get 20% physical resistance, which is always nice. Matt Smith, this is making me want Total War Warhammer 3 so bad. Well, thank you very much for the 20 Canadian donation, my dude. I appreciate it. If anyone wants to pick up Game 3 and you have not yet pre-ordered it, you can support the channel by going through my Nexus store if you so wish. You can find that right there. You'll get a Steam key directly from, what's it called? Creative Assembly. So here are the Doom Knights of Tzeentch. So we have our, interestingly, this is not an anti-large unit. It's anti-infantry, it says in its profile. You know, I actually don't like when it does that. When it says anti-infantry in its profile, like it's got the hidden anti-infantry denotion, and there's no actual thing in its weapon strength or anything like that. It breaks continuity for me. Like, why even have that? So we have 52 charge bonus on them, though, which is pretty good for these little dudes. 44 melee attack, which is juicy. 36 melee defense with 100 armor. Going to be holding that line pretty well with 80 leadership. And a brutal 105 speed. That's quite nice. That's really going to be good for these dudes. So, and I do really like these, the Doom Knight look on them. I do really want to see, I just want more glow. You know, it's like I played too much goddamn World of Warcraft where I want everything to glow so much, even though there's glow coming off the butts of these guys. I want these visors to glow. Are you concerned about the battle AI? I'm concerned after I saw Legends Siege AI video. What is Legends Siege AI video, K Malesh? I have not seen it, but none of us have played against the AI outside of that one battle. So we don't have any conclusive evidence to let us know how it works. And when Creative Assembly plays a build where they're making a video, they literally control how the AI works. They can tell it to be certain levels of aggressive and certain levels of not aggressive. So watching any video that they've procured for us is a poor representation. I would say the exception would be the videos that they've sent to us recently. I know about Legend Total War, but I've not seen the video though. Prof, what is the video about, Prof EP? AI in the Khorne versus CATHAY siege, and it didn't look great. Okay. I thought it was one of the other ones where it was like, I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I do know. He's not playing against the AI. Josh is playing against another person. He was pointing out a bunch of units refusing to engage or running from battle after engaging and just being shredded. Oh, okay. So the actual AI of the unit fighting itself, not saying me playing against an AI character. Yeah, this is Josh playing against another person. Does that change the scope of these videos for you guys? It's just 2 CA employees. I can confirm it with Josh real quick, but yeah, Josh is playing against someone else. Yeah, it's another dev. No. Yeah, he made it pretty obvious. I'll confirm real quick. Let me confirm real quick. You know who I'll ask is that slut Indie Pride. He pays better attention than I do. I mean, if I know what Legend knows, but I don't. Okay, I don't really pay very much attention to a lot of the stuff that's told to us because there's a lot that is told to us. So it might have just gone in one ear and out the other for me. But I could have sworn he said, Josh told us like, hey, here's the videos for you guys, and don't just thank me. You can thank this person who was nice enough to do them with me. So we'll find out. Josh is on holiday right now, so I've asked someone else. The Titan doesn't have the longest. I do have a good attention span, but I also consume knowledge too quickly that I'm like, ugh, this is taking too long. I want to move to the next thing. All right, so now we have the Chaos Knights of Tzeentch, which also look very good, like that color scheme. Again, I mean, there's nothing really to look at here, right? It's pretty standard fare. Barrier, anti-infantry, 120 armor. Cyclone, happy to welcome aboard, dude. Happy to have you. Look at that soul grinder. I love the attack animations of these bad boys. Look at that. Let's look at them stats. So we also have. Did the eyes glow? They do not glow, unfortunately. I thought maybe these guys. These guys have little glowy glows, because I saw them in the trailer. Warhammer 40k looking good. So Soul Grinder here, let's take a look. Juicy 90 armor. Good health pool 8100, right? 8200 if you want to round it up. We also get 40 melee attack, so nothing crazy when it comes to melee attack with 450 weapon strength, AP damage, and 35 melee defense. But a 250 range with 556 weapon strength, anti-large AP. That thing is going to be a powerhouse. Powerhouse. Is this the full army roster? This is the full army roster that I know of, Ennis. That they've revealed both as a blog and in this. We might be missing one or two of the heroes on here. Yeah, I think that's all the heroes. That might be it, Demon Claw. We'll find out. We'll find out for sure. You know what? I'll just... I asked directly into Josh, so we'll find out. He's on vacation, so I don't expect him to respond. So, Soul Grind... Oh, the Burning Chariot's not here. Good call. Someone said Burning Chariot. And no Exalted Lord of Change. Because we have physical resistance 20% here. So, typical fare. Now, here's the dudes I've been wanting to see for some time. Look at that mount. The Cultist of Tzeentch. Now, these guys have the Lore of Fire. They have a Power Stone. Gate of Tzeentch, which summons a unit of pink horrors onto the battlefield. That is quite juicy. The pink horrors we've seen are quite good too. And, you know, typical fare there. I guess worth looking at is its stat card. Again, it's a caster, so everything you would expect from a caster is represented in its stat card. But yeah, 75 speed on that Soul Grinder is pretty... You know, that's also something worth noting. Everything big and heavy and cumbersome in Warhammer 3 that I would think has a low speed actually has a pretty decent speed. Bear Cab, what, had the 75, 76 speed? The Mortal... this guy looks so good. I like he's got a little, like, Tzeentch Plague Mask, too. And again, typical fare. Wait, what was that guy? Wand of Whimsy, base damage plus 12% and melee attack plus 12 for duration 12 seconds. Enable if casting. Interesting. I would love that, Marcus. Oh, the iridescent horror of Tzeentch. So this is on a Burning Chariot. So you could make the argument here that here is your Burning Chariot. So I would imagine it has a similar profile here, right? Definitely think his weapon strength is probably bloated up here, but something probably similar. I'd imagine a low armor, fast attack, missile strength, high missile strength chariot. That's probably how it will be done. So let's see what we get here. Oh! Where are we going? What are we doing? What are we looking at? There it is. Locus of Change. So an augment. 35 meter radius for 22 seconds, increases missile damage by 25% and AP missile damage by 25%. That's a nice little buff there. Pink Spire of Tzeentch. So this is your Lore of Tzeentch, guys. We're going to finally be taking a look at here. Okay, Indie Pride just confirmed it. It is the AI. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I could have sworn that he said that it was someone else helping him, but I think it was actually that it was... another employee helping him make the battles, might have been the case. So I apologize for the confusion. So this will be against AI. So Pink Fire of Tzeentch here, damage per second of 16, duration 2 seconds here, and it quickly adheres Warp Flame to anything. So a quick way to get some Warp Flame. Blue Fire of Tzeentch, also giving Warp Flame, ranged and explosive damage, giving us some nice AP value, about 25% with some flaming and magic attacks. Range of 175. Treason of Tzeentch, reducing leadership. Oof, that's pretty good. There's a lot of debuffs to leadership, so you can stack that fear and that leadership together. Glean Magic. So self power charge 80%, but it reduces the enemy's power charge by 40% and increases your reserve by 0.1 and reduces theirs by 0.1, which I really like. I love that. I love that. Tzeentch's... Ooh, no. I was stretching my leg and that happened. Tzeentch's Firestorm. Tzeentch's Firestorm is a vortex. 7 meter radius vortex for 17 seconds. So 30% of that is AP damage of the 13 damage coming out of it. That's going to move at 4 meters a second. And lastly, Infernal Gateway. Huge stationary area of effect. Does 5 damage a second for 15 seconds. And a 15 meter radius spell is pretty big. Woo! Fire while moving, of course. Again, it's a chariot, can fly, things to be considered. So what is that lore attribute? Fires of Change. Damage resistance plus 11%. That's pretty cool. for 9 seconds. I like that. You'll be able to pump out a lot of spells with Tzeentch and get a lot of damage resistance mitigation. And then lastly, our Lord of Change, not to be confused with the Exalted Lord of Change. Pink Fire of Tzeentch. Okay, so he's got abilities here that we've already seen. And the stat profile you can see, not too crazy. I don't remember what Sartorial's is off the top of my head, or how this compares to it. But moving into big boy Kairos. Let me see that Fate Weaver. I mean, even looking at the two of them, you're getting more armor. Is there a point? Aha. There we go. So you're getting more armor, you're getting more leadership, but you're losing melee attack, defense, and charge bonus between Kairos and the other a Lord of Change. So interestingly enough, Oracle of Eternity, damage resistance 44% for 22 seconds. Nice get out of jail free card. Gaze of Fate, melee attack minus 40, and they cannot move. That's pretty brutal, man. Void Pendulum, power recharge minus 40%, power reserve minus 10. So you can really go to town on the enemy's Winds of Magic reserve, which I think is pretty cool, right? We haven't really seen anything like that in Total War Warhammer to this level or extent. So it's cool to see that Tzeentch can really play with the Winds of Magic, either through spells or bound abilities, whatever it is. Scroll of Destiny, augment of the Winds of, so it gives you a reserve per second with plus 0.4. Scroll of Tomorrow, decrease cooldown by minus 120 seconds. We get just basically rapid fire some spells here. Regrowth, so he gets a custom lore kit, from what I remember reading in that thing. So we get some regrowth here. Harmonic Convergence, that's going to be pretty cool. Penumbral Pendulum, Blue Fire of Tzeentch, Lean Magic, which can just be stacked so much with all of his other abilities to manipulate that stuff. Tzeentch's Firestorm, huge attacker as you would imagine. Wall Breaker, I imagine, too. Encourage. Wounds. And then Lore of Leeching, or Life Leeching. Fires of Change, both of the lore attributes. A Greater Arcane Conduit, and then Physical Resistance 20%, and the Demonic Instability. So that is the entire roster here for Tzeentch. We'll quickly now go over the combat mechanics. And I think okay, so we got Arcane Surge, which gives us a nice boost to our power recharge. Bolt of Change, which is exactly what you would imagine it to be, a huge Sunder Armor damage spell. And then Storm of Fire, which is a massive range damage explosion as well. And then Eye of Tzeentch, points are generated by casting spells with the Winds of Magic. So 100 Winds of Magic cast will pump you up to the next level. What does Spell Mastery on Arcane? What did you mean, Sagittarius? So one thing I think a lot of people are very concerned about is obviously going to be the AI. Okay, let's take a look. An Arcane Conduit? Let's take a look. I think I probably just missed it. Spell Mastery plus 10%. I don't know. I actually have no idea what that does. The Power Recharge plus 60%, then Spell Mastery plus 10%. Maybe it's a 10% boon to casting certain spells. Yeah, so Regrowth will be 10% stronger, Harmonic Conversion will be 10% stronger, so on and so forth. So before we jump into the actual fight, let me take a look here then for you guys, because you wanted to see. Okay, fuck off. Roster, where are you? Khorne. Exalted Bloodthirster. Yeah, so it looks like Big Daddy Scarbrand's not here. Now, you guys don't want me to go through this whole thing, do you? I imagine since we've already seen this in the Kislev video, all of you guys are pretty much set here. We can look at any specific thing. Yeah, I thought Scarband might have been in here. So unfortunately, no. Let's jump into the actual video. Let's do the actual fight we wanted to watch. Let's do... Let's watch that battle. Okay. So before we get started here, are there any questions so we can answer those questions before I start this? Because I'm probably just going to want to go through this in one go, and we can jump back to certain spots. I think people worried about the battle AI. The game's so early in development, I'm not really worried about it at all. And to be totally honest with you, I don't really get the most out of fighting the battle, the single player battles, right? I get more out of fighting the other people. And on top of it, Josh has already told us, hey, I'm not the best player, so he's not going to choose the hardest AI. He probably didn't even have, probably had hard or normal AI, if anything. Will there be an improvement on stats? Don't take any stats as set in stone just now. The game is not even, it's not even set to come out for another 3 months, so stats could wildly change by that time. What is the battle value setting? I do not know. I would imagine just default. Make sure you use creator code SPARTY at checkout. Get some of that sneak energy. I'm even drinking it right now. Ooh. I didn't say early in development. I said still in development. Like the enjoyment you get from those head-to-head campaigns return. Well, I mean, yeah. It's on normal difficulty. Okay, so there you go. So the AI's difficulty is set on normal, which I've never even played. I've only ever played hard. Did I? Oh, well, suppose I did. It's all right, guys. We're gonna make it. Early or not early, it's still earlier in development. There you go. So looking through the stat cards here.
Followers of chaos.
Get out, monkey! Get out, monkey! So Josh is just setting some stuff up, getting this good to go.
It's called commands.
You did not picture me as a bald bearded guy. Well, I did not picture myself bald and bearded at this age either, but here we are. Actually, I'll put myself right. I don't think we give a crap about this. I never do, at least. Put myself right here. There we go.
Very well.
So let's see this bad boy going now. We're getting some shots being fired down range from the skull catapult, skull throne, skull spitter, skull spitter, which is just riding dirty, right? Blood Reaper. Blood Reaper? Is that Blood Reaper? That was the name of it? No, Blood Reaper's not that. He's hide over something else. Flashhounds of Khorne going around for some little flanky attack. We got those chariots moving in as well. Put back, all the units are bald and bearded too. Yeah, Khorne would want bald people, you know? That way it's easier to get to the skull. Alright, man, look at that. See, just like look how much stuff is flying around. And I see this as being like pretty crazy, because if Tzeentch has this capability to just fly all over the place, it's going to be wild, because it's just going to be applying a lot of warp flame damage and stuff like that. Like, look at that. Look at that pouring on over here. Right here. Look at the Soul Grinder just getting eaten up. The Bloodthirster's just kind of hanging out above it. But did you see that? Look at that one volley. Okay, so Soul Grinder. I'm sorry, it wasn't one volley. I thought it really had already gotten, like, judo chopped. Watch it on the right side here. Right there. This is the Khorne Soul Grinder. Shoots a shot. Kairos jumps down into it. It's taking some range damage here. Like, everything just dedicated fully to that Soul Grinder.
Slaves to darkness! Onward, Northmen! Hordes of chaos!
Hound's jumping in. It's kind of hard to tell what the hell's going on. Just look at that. Look, dude, look at that. I haven't watched its health the whole time. I just saw that it's at half health, and I'm watching this one unit just throw into it. Man. I think this is really what we're going to be seeing from Tzeentch, right? Is, dude, look. This is what, 2 pink horrors that are just bombarding that character? Just the Exalted Bloodthirster? And I really think that's what it's going to be, the name of the game here. Like, I think Tzeentch is going to have so much of an advantage by being able to chaff things down with blue horrors. And I did say horrors that time. And then use their pink horrors to just decimate stuff. Like, that Exalted Bloodthirster is getting chunked apart by a handful of pink horrors right now. Like, that is so brutal. And I think that the fact that Khorne really can't field any real direct opposition outside of Hounds or Furies to get in the backline, I think we're going to see a bit of a different way to play Khorne that's not just simply, let me just throw everything that is melee at you. They're going to have a lot of fast attack elements to shut down stuff like this from Tzeentch. I mean, look at Grand Cathay's army, right? There's so many ranged units that Khorne is at such a massive disadvantage not having anything truly ranged outside of their little skull cannons. Like, the scary thing is supposed to be that Exalted Bloodthirster, and unfortunately, it's not been able to do anything this entire fight. It's just been running for its own ass. That's not the term I'm looking for. Why did I even say that? Yeah, magic resistance amounts to nothing right now. Because remember, there is now magic and spell resistance, 2 different things. One's against magic attacks, one's against actual spells. But dude, the Exalted Bloodthirster is pretty much like KO'd right now. I guess you could make the argument, though, that once it gets into combat, there's really nothing that can stop it outside of maybe the Screamers of Tzeentch for Tzeentch. But this Soul Grinder, okay, I thought the Soul Grinder was out of the fight. It's just smacking around this Lord of Change. Kairos in the back there, taking out one of those Reaper cannons, Skull cannons. We don't know that there is magic resistance in Game 3. I thought they said there is. There's magic and spell resistance now. I think I said that in... I think they said that in the first initial opening of the Khorne Brass Citadel thing. No magic resistance anymore. Okay, I thought they added spell and magic. Well, I'm stupid. You would think I covered this thing for my career, for my job. Oh, they said replaced. Okay. Well, look at me spouting misinformation. Sorry about that, guys. My bad. Whoopsies. Dude, the Soul Grinder. Look at that thing just pumping out. Did you see that? That was sick. Look right here. Oh, that is so cool. So this is what I think it's going to come down to for Tzeentch, right? Is they're going to be able to do so much damage at range. They're going to be able to pepper things and make them quite weak. But as soon as something can break that range, look at that, look at that, look at that Tzeentch's Firestorm. That is so sick looking. I think as soon as someone kind of breaks through that range barrier and gets up close and personal, it's donezo, right? Like, look at this. Army has been mulched up really hard by tons of range damage, but there's nothing that's got a large amount of AP, I'm sorry, a large amount of anti-infantry or anti-large to shut down anything in combat. So I think Tzeentch is going to be a constant game of microing and cross-firing on each other. Like, okay, throw some blue horrors right here, get pink horrors back, shoot into the stuff. Okay, they've broken through those blue horrors, split your pink horrors off in different directions and enfilade. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to have a standard style engagement with Tzeentch. I think it's going to require a lot of mobility on your part to make sure you can keep this going. Like, look at the beginning of this. Like, if you watch like everything's health at the start of this fight. By the way, look at the UI for Khorne. That's sick. There's a Khorne symbol here. The whole bar right here is a long elongated Khorne symbol, like that Berserker's crest. So GG KFC bird. Like Tzeentch in this early fight, like watch everything's health. Like you can see as I kind of scrub through this quickly, things health just starts getting chunked down. The soul grinder, the exalted, watch this exalted bro, just getting chunked apart. Like at this point in the battle, we're what, 2.5 minutes in, and we're down 50% health on our Lord. Soul Grinder's down some health. The Chariots are down some health. The Spawn's not too much. These guys are kind of getting hit a little bit. And this, of course, you know, guys, like I've said, this is not like an example of the world's best micro. So take it all with a grain of salt, right? Two players playing against each other is going to look entirely different, right? Obviously, someone like Lotus Moon playing as Tzeentch, who's already a gentleman who's amazing at using characters to just piss you off by using a lot of skirmish tactics. He's probably going to thrive playing like a Tzeentch faction. So I think that what Tzeentch is going to rely upon is that mobility, because they just don't have the way to hold a front line. And Khorne at the same time has got an ability to really piss things off in combat, but when this is a fight against maybe Grand CATHAY, it's going to be very interesting to see how Khorne deals with that. They're going to have to rely on a lot of Furies play, a lot of Chaos Hounds play. I just think that that's really where they're going to have to thrive, because or else they're just going to get shot apart. So take a look at everything's, again, we're about 3 minutes, 15 seconds into the fight. Look at everything's health across the board. It's pretty beat up, right? I don't think there's an exalted flamer. There's so much furry. So much furry.
The Skull Taker's decree. Exalted Bloodthirster. Power of Khorne.
Burning Rage kicking off right there. Like, look at that, man. The Doom Knight's just getting eaten up alive. See, that's what I mean, though, Derakos. How is Khorne going to deal with skirmish playstyle? They're going to struggle with it. I think they're going to have to use their crushers, either skull crushers or skull takers, blood crushers or skull crushers. God damn, the fucking naming mechanics. Their Furies and their Hounds to do as much as they can. What do you think of 130 range of horrors, how they might play against other archers factions like the High Elves in multiplayer? I don't really know. I think that the archers from like the High Elves, they're going to be able to use that range advantage. I guess that you can make the argument here that there just is such a weight of numbers of... There's such a weight of numbers of arrows coming out versus flames coming out. Like, I think that the Tzeentch can probably field more damage per unit in range damage than the High Elves, but I don't know. I'm kind of making a supposition here. Definitely, like, a pink horror in a one-on-one with a High Elf archer, I think would get mulched up because it's low armor. Probably High Elf armor with probably High Elves. Jesus Christ, man! I can't fucking use my words. Shit. A High Elf archer with light armor probably would do a little bit better. I don't fucking know. God damn, man. Couldn't speak right there. I mean, even this going off, I mean, didn't do a ton of damage. It did really hit these guys pretty hard. Although I don't think that unit was in that. Did you notice how much the Forged Demon keeps knocking back that Lord of Change and shooting him when he's down? Yeah, I saw that a bit ago. Where is it? It's over here. I saw it a second ago. It just knocks him. Ah, here it is. Here it is. Boom! Yeah, just right there in the face. He's like, ah! Oh my god. I just popped my back and it felt so good. Woo! Yeah, Tzeentch is going to probably rely on the blob, right? Trying to get you to blob up as much as it can because it has so many of those big damage spells. But so does stuff like the Lore of Yang. It's got some pretty good big damage spells. Oh my god, I just popped back and it felt great. Dune, thank you very much, man. How you doing, brother? Wolf 1 is doomed.
Fist of Khorne, embrace the fury.
Did it really pick up that pop? That was pretty good pop. I was like, oh, felt great. My QLs are super tight right now. And Beats, we're just watching a fight, and I'm kind of popping back and forth the points that people are talking about, like, hey, remember this point, this here, or that there.
Army of the Dark Gods.
SEMs. Help me out with that acronym. Where are they releasing these vids? The CA website? No, they've sent them to all the content creators. It is Josh playing against, I believe, the AI on normal difficulty. Oh. Single entity monsters. Ah, okay. If you pay attention, it seems like all the big SEMs in Warhammer 3 have animations for fighting other entities. The big monsters no longer just swing at each other's feet. Well, that's good. I had not realized that. Oh, actually, death icon indeed, Misha. What do you think I'll play first when the game launches? Probably a toss-up between Kislev or CATHAY. I would have said Kislev some time ago, but Kislev's roster didn't really tingle me. He did not. I mean, yeah, I would obviously assume PvP would be better. Or do you mean the ranked system? Did they put any more thought into how that works? Is that the question? Tiziano? Did we see the third army ability from Khorne yet? I can show you. We can go back to the roster. The Horn of Khorne, which increases melee attack by 24, 31 seconds. The Relentless Rage, entities cannot die while ability is active for 20 seconds, which is quite nice. And then Blade of Khorne. Yeah, Tiziano, I don't know. Oh, Blade of Khorne, which is an explosion doing 72 damage with a third of it being AP. Do you expect we see any pics of new campaign before Christmas? I hope so, Rebinger. I hope we just see anything for campaign before Christmas. What about Crash fanfic? What about it, Chosen? I have to do some coverage of it. I haven't hit it recently because I've just been so damn busy. Tiziano, the rank system. So when I visited their when I visited Creative Assembly, when Turn and I visited for Everchosen, whichever one of them, I don't remember which one that said this. What they were working on doing for Warhammer 3 was trying to make a ladder, and they couldn't do it because they were running a ladder on Steam, and Steam you can't reset like a ladder on Steam unless you do a patch. So what they were trying to do was build a ladder internally, like on an internal server. And I don't know if they ever did that or what came of it or anything like that, but that's because we were asking, like, why don't we have a true competitive ladder in Warhammer 2, and why doesn't it reset, and why can't we do these things? And they said the limitation is because of Steam, not because of us. We would do it if we could, but we already built the infrastructure into Warhammer 2 to have it housed on Steam. If we could in Warhammer 3, we would have it housed internally, and then we could have a true ladder system, a true MMR system, so on and so forth. So I don't know if that ever happened or came to fruition for 3. What game 1 and 2 factions do you want to see fight the new factions most? Personally, hype for Khorne versus Dwarves. And Jordan, thank you very much for the donation, my brother. 50 SEK Swedish krona? That is Swedish krona? Oh, what that is? But thank you very much, man. What 2 factions do you want to see fight the new factions? I think Kislev versus any of the demons would be, well, that's 3. That's 3. Whoops. High Elves versus Slaanesh. For sure. For sure. High Elves versus Slaanesh would be really cool. I've been hearing a lot of reskin between the 4 demon factions. Is it bad as what people say or what? Well, Fluffy, what do you mean by that? And you're also kind of coming to the wrong guy about opinions on reskins, because I think reskins are totally fine. I find no issues with reskins. People are like weirdly hostile about that, but like think of it this way. The Arachnarok Spider and the Rotting Leviathan are the same exact wireframe. It's just a reskin of the wireframe. Everything on it is different and animated differently, but it is the same exact wireframe. So whenever they make a new unit in Warhammer, the thing that costs the most is the wireframe. And if they can reuse wireframes, they're going to do it. And I'm totally cool with that. If you can give me an example, we can take a look, though. I don't know about the animations and reskins and all that. A lot of people, even other content creators, get really, really like bent out of shape about it. Like I've talked about this before with Cody Bonds really not liking it. I don't see those things. I don't ever look at it and go, that's a reskin of that. I don't see it. Like I think when people talk about like, oh, you know, the spawns are just reskins of the spawns. I'm like, yeah, because that's what the Chaos spawn's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a slightly different variation. Like there was not a whole bunch of discrepancy when you played tabletop. Like I said too, when it comes to the Chaos Warriors, if you had Khorne Chaos Warriors, they were colored red. If you had Tzeentch Chaos Warriors, they were colored blue. That was really the difference in the tabletop. So when you look at the art, it's really not that much of a difference until you get to maybe say the Lords of Tzeentch or Khorne, or the actual like Forsaken of Tzeentch and Khorne and stuff like that. Those are the ones that are supposed to be more characteristic. So I don't mind that. Yeah, exactly right. Wesley Chartrand just said, AAA game dev here. You'd be surprised how many assets get recycled. Like why 100%? The money has already been spent. Like capital expenditure, right? They've already spent it on making the wireframe. There's no reason to make a new wireframe for everything, because not only would it cost them an exorbitant amount of money, but to load in each one of those custom assets is so much more taxing on your computer. And a lot of people kind of think of this thing where, oh, everything should be completely new and separate and unique. It's just not realistic. It just doesn't work like that. It's the same thing on almost everything in the world. There are so many things and components that kind of, oh, you know, we can make this same exact coupler for this thing in a car and just replicate it 50 times across the car rather than making a proprietary connection for every single connection in a car. Being a professional 3D modeler, some people don't realize how much work goes into custom skeletons. No, they don't. They 100% don't, man. Great point. What will Slaanesh specialize in? Speed, Derek. I would imagine a lot of physical resistance and a lot of speed and a lot of melee attack, but probably low armor, low health pool. That's probably what it's going to be like. I'll just kind of let this roll while we're talking here. We're kind of coming towards the end of the stream, I would imagine, so I'll just let this roster roll. If you guys have any questions about it, want me to stop and go back on anything, just go ahead and let me know. Nick Woodfin, I'm fine with Chaos Warrior reskins, but the reskins should be distinctive and not just a recolor. Give me an example and we can talk about it more. But I agree, I would like to see more like that. That's cool with me. Those are fine. Those are totally sick, you know? It's just a Chaos Warrior, of course. It's a Chaos Warrior skin, right? But it's a badass custom looking asset for the Khorne warriors. I think all of the mortal warriors of each respective god should have this level of kind of like care put into them, because it's such a like distinctive part of the faction. Homer Simpson, I've been sad we won't get center bearers for years. Yeah, I can totally agree with you guys on that. I think every single set of Mortal Warriors needs to have those levels. And like you guys said, it's not a wireframe change. It's just the model. It needs to have a little bit of a different look to it. I totally agree with you. But the Khorne spawn are the exact same as the Beastman spawn, just red. I mean, yeah, but do they have the Chaos spawn in here? No, they're not. Oh, yeah, they're no, they don't. Oh, we just passed them, that's why. Yeah, but I mean, this doesn't need to look much more different to me. I mean, it's got horns. It's got enough. Like, it already looks kind of corny to me. Khorne as Khorne, not Corny. So I think it works. Like, the Minotaurs of Khorne look pretty sick and custom. Like, I guess spawns are such a low-hanging fruit for me. I think modders are definitely going to be going hard and heavy on these, on tons of chaos stuff. I think that, so next TS Elite says, I feel like Khorne has had more love for their reskins than Tzeentch, and that bums me out. I definitely agree that Khorne definitely gets better love in the mortal department. But I think that the Tzeentch, like, I mean, it's nothing crazy to me, right? This Gore Beast has just got the guys on the back with the Berserker's crest. I feel like Tzeentch as a whole looks better than Khorne. Khorne, though, has amazing mortal warriors, so they already kind of feel like they're a step above, in my opinion. But I just really like the look that Tzeentch, I feel, has more custom assets per model, versus a lot of Khorne stuff is, okay, well, this is just a Gore Beast chariot with some custom additions onto it, right? These are Chaos Warriors done up in the Khorne fashion. This is a spawn. Or these are Flesh Hounds of Khorne. Oopsies. This is a spawn. This is a Minotaur. You know, I feel like per model in the Tzeentch army, that's just more custom, because there's pink and blue and screamers and flamers and all that. Doomknight should have runes, not skulls. Nurgle should have some pus and rot, etc. I totally agree with you, Nick. Totally agree with you. Just know that it's like, from the conversations I've had with them back when I visited, anything that's got like a super custom wireframe or something that's completely new, something had to kind of be cut or not cut, but like, what am I trying to say? If you've got like 10 units and you can recycle a handful of them, you can get more wireframes for other things. Like, God, that didn't even make sense. That didn't fucking make any sense. I just know that it costs so much more to make the wireframe than just making custom like skins, basically. So they're going to use it for things like a soul grinder. They're going to use it for things like horrors or the Blood Thirster, or the Blood Letters, stuff like that, versus, okay, the Warrior, yeah, we already kind of have this existing, let's just kind of custom slap it up. Well, that's the thing too. People have kind of made a lot of complaints about the Chaos Demon factions and their lack of Mortal Warriors. I'm like kind of holding back reservation on that until we see Undivided. If Undivided still doesn't have like a good smattering of mortal units, that'll be really kind of shitty and disconcerting for me. But this is the Chaos Demons faction, so it's cool to me if it is majority demons. It makes sense, that's what it's supposed to be. The roster makes sense from the 8th edition, everything. But if we get, hey, here's Warriors of Chaos Undivided, or here's an Undivided Chaos faction with everything in it, and it's just kind of pretty much the current Warriors of Chaos plus the Chaos Demons factions put into a super roster, I'll be like, fuck, that's kind of like lackluster to me. Revelin, thank you very much, man. $5 donation. Reskins aren't so bad here since it's usually equivalent units. A spawn is a spawn. Like if a Chaos Warrior has a red Great Swordsman, I'd be salty. I agree with that. I agree with that. Do you mind the reused dialogue lines? Man, you guys have a lot of aptitude to remember these things. I don't remember the reused dialogue lines. What are some of them that you can give me an example? Because I don't know. Do you think Warhammer 3 has a stats crunch? Because Warhammer 2 stats look pretty good right now. Give me an example, Jack. And again, since this is all still in development, any stats, take with a grain of salt. They'll probably change. Do you think they'll add custom army paint eventually? I hope so, Wilson. I really hope so. A lot of the voice lines we've seen from Game 3 are pulled from Undivided. Deadly Dude, I don't know. I know that... So, as someone who has seen builds that were not completed, like for example, hey, one time Turn and I went to go to Creative Assembly's office and we saw Vampire Coast, and it had a ton of just placeholder voice lines, placeholder models, placeholder everything. So I don't know what we're seeing, if it's a placeholder or if it's the actual reused voice line. Yes, the two factions they haven't revealed so far are Nargle and Slanesh and the Ninth Lord. Khorne Demon has a greenskin voice line. I didn't know that. Shouldn't Khorne's army... I believe they do, you just can't tell. Or... I think some of them do. All the Exalted units do, so... Take a word... Are there even any Exalted Blood? No, I don't see any. Oh, here we go. You can't see it here, but these are glowing. All those weapons are glowing. And same thing with these guys, their weapons are glowing. Let me see if I have a picture here. Warhammer 3 stills. Those are blood letters. Exalted Bloodthirster. Where is the Exalted Blood Letter?
Thank you for the donation.
Alif! Give me 1 second, man. I'll read your thing. Yeah, see, here's the Exalted Blood Letters. You just can't tell on that actual picture there, but this is from the Brass Citadel fight. What do you think Bellacor's roster is going to look like if indeed he's going to be the secretive Ninth Lord? Can't imagine that his mechanics will be. I don't know. He might just be a super demon army list where he's got everything combined. Like I've said though, I really want to see like a true undivided chaos faction that's got Warriors of Khorne, Warriors of Nurgle, Warriors of Slaanesh, that capability. So, Robert B said, thoughts on having Chaos Undivided being able to recruit Warriors of Chaos or other way around? I think it depends on how they word it. So, Chaos had a bunch of different iterations throughout the editions of Warhammer. It used to just be Chaos. I think they made it Legions of Chaos in one edition. That might be 3rd edition. And then I think in 6th, they split it. One's called Hordes of Chaos, which is everything. Then one edition, they split it to Beasts, Warriors, and Demons of Chaos. And it's gone through all this crazy kind of like splintering. So it depends on how they name the faction. If it was just called Chaos Undivided, I would expect to be able to recruit Warriors of Chaos. If it was Demons of Chaos Undivided, I would expect it to just strictly be all of the demons. If it said, Hordes of Chaos, I would expect it to have Warriors and Demons and maybe even some Beastmen. I don't know, but I think it just depends on how they name it that would depend upon my expectations. It would be a bit of a balancing nightmare, but you just put limitations on things. Do you think it's odd that we haven't seen Kiss of gameplay since the Brass Citadel battle? No, not particularly. I think they focused on the things that we wanted to see probably the most in CATHAY and Ogres, and now Tzeentch, and they wanted to give us another bad guy faction to play against those. Since we've already seen so much Kislev, and they haven't announced Nurgle or Slaanesh yet, I think it made sense to do CATHAY and Ogres, and then Khorne and Tzeentch. I think it just made sense thematically. Thank you very much for watching, man. You think Chaos Undivided faction has missile infantry? I would hope it would have Marauders. That's a big thing too. I haven't seen any Marauders in any of these lists. Now, I expect to see Marauders in Slaanesh's list because that was a big thing for 8th edition. Well, for Slaanesh in general, is Marauders. They make these sexy Marauder sex parties. Have a good one, Hugh. Be safe, brother. Let's see. This is the Demons of Chaos book. Ugh. There we go. Jump. Went all the way down here. I think it's actually more in 6th edition that you get to see some of those cooler rules. Let me see. Yeah. I did not, Kevin. I did not. I'm not in that Discord, so I don't get to see that stuff. People just send it to me, and I go, "Oh, that's cool." But here's the Hordes of Chaos book, and this is where a lot of it kind of combines. This very unit I've seen has its melee defense armor nerfed, for example. A Terracotta Sentinel has the same melee defense as great swords. Oh, Jack, I did not notice that. How do you access that book? I have them all as PDFs. I got them all. So this is the book where, Beasts of Chaos are included here. Spawns, Chaos Dragons, Warhounds, Demons of Chaos, Demonic Special Rules, Demonic Princes. Like, this was a book that combined a lot. And then we got the Beast Men as its own separate book, which was probably actually one of my favorite books. Nesh, the Keeper of Sex. Steeds, Demonettes. This was all in one book. Versus, again, like I said, other editions split it off into separate ones. A little bit further forward. Yeah, we can. I can do that for you. Here's the Chaos Wastes. The Chaos Wastes or the Realm of Chaos. Valkia is probably my favorite character in the Continuum of Khorne. Yeah, 6th edition art was sick, man. Like, look at this shit. This is what I grew up reading was 6th edition army books all the time. All the time. This guy too is one of my favorite Chaos champions. Here's the Chaos Wastes. That's what you're talking about. Are you wanting to see the waste itself? So it looks like where the map will be is it's right here, right? It kind of comes down from this portion of longitude, maybe like right here, and then comes over to about like maybe this one, and that's the top portion that we can see is right here, because we see Ehrengrad Prague at the very bottom of that map, and the Sea of Claws, that opening, and we get a little bit of Marienburg, so we see like this like little portion right here. At least I think that's what I saw. Like, look at that, man. The Doomnot's going to cost 1,600. Tzeentch Chaos Knights 1,400, 1,450. Interesting. A Hungan Kurgan. I would like to see a lot more like differentiation between the quote unquote Norskin tribes, you know, right? Between all those different tribes. I would like to see that. Look at this, man. Like, look at the art on that. Look at the big backdrop here of a Great Unclean One. Like, the art was so good in 6th, and I love a lot of this style too, like heavy sketching. I'm kind of just fucking around at this point. So we still got 577 of you bros watching here. If you have any questions, please just let me know. We've not seen Scarbrand just yet. There was something about Slaanesh and Marauders, and I can't remember what it was. Let's see here. So Slaanesh, the Dark Prince. Slaanesh, the Dark Prince of Chaos, is the youngest of the 4 greater Chaos gods. Known under a multitude of names, including Shornal and Lanshor, the Lord of Pleasure is patron of all things beautiful and seductive. Master of excess and a creative power, his realms of influence include music, art, and passion. The embodiment of indulgence in all its forms, Slaanesh's allure is highly addictive, and those who follow him are quickly overcome by the seductive vices of pride, arrogance, and excess. Divinely beautiful and alluring, Slaanesh is portrayed as exuding a palpable and irresistible charm. Slender, long-limbed, and elegant, the god is completely androgynous and defies the natural order of the world. He teases the souls of his armies from their bodies as they gaze with adoration and longing into the hidden depths of his lustrous soul or eyes. Slaanesh in his many guises is honored all through the Northlands, as well as within the Old World. The tribesmen of the North seek the favor of Slaanesh for personal gain, but the Dark Prince of Chaos has it within his power to instill his followers with a portion of his radiant glory, ensuring that mere mortals will fall at their feet in devotion. In ages past, a faction of the elves of Ulthuan fell into perverted worship of the Lord of Pleasure, and this is what is rumored to have brought about the great division of that noble race. The hidden covens within the hearts of the greatest of cities and throughout the decadent upper classes of society, secretive cults thrive. How many inadvertently slipped into the tender embrace of Slaanesh as they succumbed to the sins of self-indulgence? How many great leaders of men have turned to the Dark Prince of Chaos to secure their position or to gain the support and respect of their fellows? Slaanesh hungrily preys upon these mortal weaknesses and delights in the devotion that is heaped upon him. Champions of Slaanesh are majestic, charismatic leaders who are adored by their followers and attract large warbands. Such adoration is easy to embrace, and as the champion becomes more absorbed with his goal, he becomes more distant from his followers, his aloofness and otherworldly persona only fueling his or their adoration. The glories of Slaanesh are great, and Slaaneshi champions are immensely proud of the gifts bestowed upon them by the Dark Prince, bathing in the praise heaped upon them by lesser mortals. They are imposing individuals with an allure and attraction that goes beyond mere physical beauty, and move with effortless grace and exquisite precision. The sheer presence of a champion of Slaanesh is inspiring. They are surrounded by an aura that delights others and drives them to acts of great loyalty and sacrifice. They become removed for mortal concern so that pain, fear, loyalty, and humanity are left behind, leaving them entirely focused on achieving their own ambitions. All other creatures become subservient to the will of the champion. They're merely They're merely to give adulation or be destroyed. Well, there you go. There's Slaanesh. Well, the possibilities of Chaos Dwarfs other races are less? No, Keltham and Iceheart. I definitely think Chaos Dwarfs are coming. I absolutely think they're coming. How do you feel about Tzeentch's balance from what we have seen? Of course, it's all subject to change. I think that Tzeentch is going to be very hard, but once you really get, let's see some more Hunt slid into the playlist. I'll play some more Hunt for sure. 5 for biting. I think that in the hands, I think it will have a high barrier of entry as far as skill goes, but it has a super high skill ceiling. I think extremely micro-intensive players are really going to thrive with Tzeentch. I think that people that are not really comfortable with their micro are going to struggle with Tzeentch. I think it will be the hardest faction for a lot of players to play, assuming they don't have, outstanding micro skills. Dude, Evil Myself VG just crushed it right here. Chaos Dwarfs have 100% more chance than Airbnb opponent, at least. I am more charismatic leaders adored by followers. After reading of that last paragraph, I'm more convinced you are a champion of Slaanesh. How dare you? I don't want to tweak my nipples, guys. I don't want to do it. Although Slaanesh, in 6th edition, was still very nipple tweaky. It got more nipple tweaky as you get into 7th and 8th. Kabanda for Khorne. Have I heard myself? What do you mean, man? Why do people keep saying that to me? What did I do? I guess, yeah, we could take a look at this spicy spagoot. Goji, what's up, man? We can take a look at some Nurgle stuff if you guys want. Not in-game. I was talking about an army book. Sorry, some of you I know got super hard at that statement. I would love to do voiceover work. I almost submitted some stuff for voiceover work. But I listened to it and it felt too cringy to me. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. And I chickened out. I should not have done that. I think I should have just submitted it and seen how it went. Okay. Let's jump to... This is going to jump me all the way down to that fucking part, isn't it? No. I think I still have some of it. We can listen if you guys want. I went full cringe. Recycle bin. Just sitting in my recycle bin, just... One sec. I thought the cats were wilding out there. I would have loved for Book of Choyer to have done a really cool Kislev thing. Is there anything faster than a Pistolier on the Khorne roster? What do you mean, Jack? Is anything faster than... Oh, okay. I don't know. I think maybe the... Hearing, do you want to see Nurgle? I had to restrain myself from moaning at work like, oh yeah. So what's Nurgle's main strength? It would be health and durability. So I would imagine Nurgle would have... see, I don't think it would have a high amount of armor. I think it would have a high amount of melee defense and an extremely high health pool. I don't know. Let me see if I had a Tamarcon. I have the book here. There it is. This might just be the Chaos Dwarfs portion of it. Oh no, this is the whole book. And the Tamarcon is probably where we'll get a lot of cool characteristic Khorne units from. If you've not read this book, it's amazing. It's a Forge World supplement that they released a long time ago. And it was the real, like, it was the first time anyone had touched the Chaos Dwarfs in ages. And they basically reimagined the Chaos Dwarfs in like the modern editions of the time and made them way cooler looking and way less over the top and kind of like caricature looking. Yeah, I would imagine physical resist, a lot of regeneration, a lot of health, a lot of melee defense just from like some sort of toughness capability. Where is that roster? Campaign phases. Ah, look at this. Look at that, dude. Stuff from moaning just from hearing you speak, Slanesh much. You cannot deny it any longer. The Toe Dragons. I hope we get like Toe Dragons. That'd be so sick. Tamarcon, the Maggot Lord. Look at that guy, dude. They do actually. Nurgle does have a surprising amount of cav. Sail the Faithless, Twisted Seer of the Wastes. Look at that guy. That's basically how Nurgle works, attrition. They can't do the most damage, they just wear you down over time because they're so durable. Kha'Zix the Befouled, champion of Nurgle. Then we got Bile Trolls. We got the Plague Toads, which are really, really, really cool. I really hope we get Plague Toads. Pox Riders of Nurgle, which are basically Plague Bearers on a Plague Toad. The Chaos War Mammoth, which would be cool. It'd be cool to see mammoths outside of Norscan, a Norska army, right? Then we get the Siege Giant. Look at that thing, dude. Look at that thing. Warriors of Chaos. A bunch of different variations of them. So this is that's the Tamarcon roster for Nurgle. And if we look at the Demons of Chaos 8th edition, Plague Bearers and Heralds of Khorne of Nurgle. You son of a bitch. It's probably 48. Yeah. We get stuff like the Beasts of Nurgle. Great Unclean Ones, of course. So look at the toughness on this. And if you know tabletop, you know that to be a lot of toughness. Because the way it worked in tabletop was it would be your weapon strength against their weapon strength to see if you could hit them. 6 would hit pretty much everything on almost a 2 or 3 up. Then you looked at your strength versus their toughness. So this is a strength of 6 versus a toughness of 7. So even if the Great Unclean One tried to attack itself, it would be at a disadvantage. I think it's a 4 up. If it's equal, it's 3 up. If it's 1 above, it's 4 up, and then 2 above, it's 5 up, and higher and higher and higher to 6. But just it's so much harder to hit things with high toughness. The Plague Bearers themselves have a toughness of 4. Now, if you think of like a Space Marine, they all had strength 4 and toughness 4. Most things in the Warhammer world, Warhammer Fantasy, standard is 3. So even an Empire Swordsman, a High Elf Spearman, stuff like that, it's going to be hard for them to hit this. I've had too much sneak in my brain, starting to get a little crazy. Plague drones, which would be so sick, right? Plague bearers on a rotfly. Oh. Yeah, humans and elves were toughness, strength 3, like I said. So that just kind of gives you a scope, right? Like this is a standard Plague Bearer, your basic demon. It's got a toughness and strength of 4. The Beasts of Nurgle here. Slime Hounds, Putrid Bounders, the Tentacled Plague Dogs. We already have Rotflies confirmed, so that was great. Did we? Oh, that's right. Yeah. We got the picture of them, right? The hand-drawn picture. Nurglings and Palanquins. The reason it's so hard for me to keep straight what's been confirmed is because so much stuff is told to us that we can't say. By the way, guys, there's nothing I know right now that you guys don't know. Pretty much the way they've been doing it is every time that there's a news release, we know 24 hours in advance. So you guys know everything I know right now. But there's so much stuff that happens like that where they tell us, I can't say anything, now we can say something. So there are things like that where it's like, okay, well, I don't know what I can and can't fucking say. Right now I can say anything, but it's so hard to kind of keep track of it because you've seen how much stuff that we've done like in tandem with their news blogs. So it's like, it wasn't like that for Warhammer 2, right? Warhammer 2, we pretty much had, hey, here's your roster reveal, here's your roster video, and here's a mechanics video. Nothing for a month. Then the next month was that faction's month, right? Maybe do some spotlights here and there. But we weren't told a lot of those things ahead of time. A lot of what helped my channel grow was the fact that I was watching those roster reveal videos, which we never got ahead of time, writing down everything. I'd go home during my lunch, make a video, get it out immediately, and then go back to work. So we have so much stuff told to us ahead of time now, like right 24 hours in advance. So it's like, shit. You mentioned earlier that you thought of submitting voice work. May I ask how one would go about that? It is something I was hoping to get into in the future. Someone sent me a link to a website that does fan fiction. Crazy C4 did this. Fan fiction Warhammer 40k novels, and they have like an open casting call. You just submit, you read for specific characters and submit it. Kyle Sinnett, did you panic when your video released early a couple weeks ago or last week? I was asleep. I set it to go the time that it normally goes because it says it didn't realize that the time change had happened. And so when I woke up, it had already kind of done what it had done. So I was like, fuck. I just felt really bad. Because it wasn't anything big or crucial, right? It wasn't like... Imagine if that was like something like the Ogres trailer. I would have been in a lot of trouble. But because it was kind of a minor thing, they understood, and I was super apologetic about it too, right? Like I was like, I'm so sorry. I definitely did not plan for that to happen. But because it was something minor, it wasn't a big deal. Had it been something bigger, had it been like a Nurgle reveal, I would no longer be a Creative Assembly content partner. I am sure of it. Epidemius. I think that Kugoth will definitely be our legendary lord. It just makes sense, right? I don't think it could be anyone else. Well, I think it could be someone else. I just think it makes the most sense that it's Kugoth. Yeah, Nurgle reveal confirmed. See it here first, an hour ahead of time. I think the only one other time that happened was when Dogbert was still around, and I think it was 2 years into me doing this. 0% chance it's not Kugoth. It just doesn't make any sense that it would be another greater demon. Kugoth walking is cringe just thinking about it. Like you don't look, because every time he farts, just Greasus not getting his posse makes me worried Kugoth won't get his palanquin. I think he's getting his palanquin. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. If I am wrong that he does not get his palanquin, I'll deep throat another hot dog on stream like I did on Turin's stream. Fuck, you guys are right. I am Slaanesh. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Glam. The Palanquin is way easier to animate than the sea of Noblars beneath Greases. I think put him on a Palanquin, let him hover, and like call it a day. Like, all right, let's just gonna make him hover. Get a Nurgling costume for launch day. That could be pretty hard. I could definitely do like a bloodletter. Just I go buy demon horns, get like I actually don't want to wear fake contacts. They can fuck your eyes up. But get yellow contacts and just paint my body red. I would definitely do that. That'd be easy. Get a fat suit and punch holes in it for Nurgle. We're just chilling here, my bros. I got 470 of you still watching me just ramble here. Thanks for just kind of tuning in and having fun. We're kind of out of stuff to talk about. We don't have much to go through, so we're just kind of like hanging out. If you have any questions about anything, let me know. If you want me to jump to any of the roster videos, I can. I can show any of the roster videos. So if you guys want to see stuff from CATHAY, we can jump through that really quick. Or if there's certain things you wanted to bring up, I'm more than happy to. I'm limited in the battle videos I can show, so I can only show one more until the next embargo, whenever the hell that is. So I'll probably do another one of these streams with probably CATHAY and ogres, which everyone has done, so I might just not do it. Robert, he is not covering any Warhammer 3 stuff because he typically doesn't cover Warhammer 3 news, and he's having a lot of really strong like success with Age of Empires 4, and he's definitely going to jump into Warhammer 3 when we can actually play the game. He was like, I don't really cover the news like that. I don't have a lot to add to it because I don't know, maybe the lore is as good as some other people or whatever it is. But he was saying like, and honestly, I want him to cover Age of Empires 4 really hard. And we talked about this in the last stream. I was reading your comment, Revelance, and it just fucking threw me for a loop. Oh my god. I want him to cover Age of Empires 4 because Turin is an extremely gifted like announcer, and he has this awesome brain for quick, hard analytics that also are backed up by actual numerical fact. Like that's why it works when him and I cast together, because I can make a lot of like, you know, color commentary and talk about lore or talk about even history if it's like Age of Empires. But he's always the one that can be like, yeah, you know, in this unit it's got 45 speed compared to some 2 or 3 of these other units that have this speed, this speed, this speed, this speed, or they're using values like this and this. He has like an amazing brain for it. And the Total War multiplayer community, while awesome and it's strong and it's growing, is not very big, and it's kind of got a glass ceiling for him. If he covers Age of Empires 4 like he's doing, and he's blowing up too, he's doing a really awesome job covering it, he has the potential to get really big contracts as an esports broadcaster. And that's what I know he wants to do, and it has the potential to give him Blizzard contracts for maybe Overwatch or Warcraft 3. It's just huge for him. If he got into Red Bull's Wololo, the big World Cup for Age of Empires, at $100K for their prize pool, that's massive. Like, and I imagine those contracts to be the broadcaster for them are very well paying. So I want him to keep hitting AoE 4 hard, and that's why I'm going to be doing it too. I'm going to do a tournament tomorrow. Meowing seemingly doesn't have a breath attack. What do you think about that? No opinion. Glam doesn't bother me, if that's the question. You think we might get Nippon, or is he forever in Retconia? No, I think Nippon is a possibility. I don't think it'd happen anytime soon. Will Italian Spargos do a video hip firing a black powder cannon when ogres arrive? Like, they're here! What mortal units Nurgle will get on launch? I would imagine warriors, just basic warriors. Like, I could see Slaanesh not getting warriors and just getting marauders, because that's kind of a Slaaneshi thing. Slaanesh is big in the cults. But I would imagine Nurgle just gets some sort of like just warriors, just hold the line, sword and shield, high durability warriors. Is there a Tetris World Tournament? I think there actually is. I think it's a big deal, actually. Oh, Zhao does? Well, Glam, does he, or does he have like some sort of like special thing with alchemy? Toddy Carl cosplay? I think I would have to be, what's his name? Grand Theogenist. How do you feel how they're doing the Warhammer 3 map? I don't know yet, Nightmare. I want to see what the map actually looks like. Right now, to me, it's like I'm looking at a poster, I'm piecing things together. Is that the whole map? Is it a portion of the map? What the hell's the deal? It's interesting to see that it's done from the poles, you know, like that. Volkmar, thank you. Versus what we've always looked at is like a west to east portrayal of it, like this. So it's interesting that it's a polar map. Well, Glam, remember him breathe fire in both game screenshots and the World Enter the World CATHAY trailer. Well, Glam, there's also this from. I can show this because I've already shown it. Is this the right one? Yeah, it is. Remember this from the. Let's find it. So watch what she can do. It's not a breath attack. Ugoth is ranged. Is that confirmed somewhere? No, it's back more. It's back more. Yeah, she got her splash attack. This might be the same thing, right? Wait for it. God, it's so sick. I think that's probably what you're seeing for Miao Ying and Zhao. It's probably what you're seeing for Zhao. Yeah, I think it's just an attack animation. Do you think Be'lakor will be showing up in Total Warhammer 3? Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely think he's the unnamed kind of antagonist that's pulling all the strings. Yeah, so it's a breath animation, but not a breath actual attack. I guess it doesn't say anywhere that the Cathayan dragons have breath attacks. Battle might just be the Lord, but it looks like they can fly just straight up to get out of combat. Oof. Yeah, there is a small cooldown, I think they said, on the fly capability, right? Will there be a Demon Prince unit? I hope so, Alexander. That's another thing, too. With Chaos Undivided, we haven't seen any mentions of Demon Princes. So I hope that there is a Chaos Undivided faction where you have a Demon Prince, and then you can choose to go certain directions of certain dedications to certain gods. I think that'd be really cool. 30-second cooldown to swap. Thank you, Aiden. You think Scarbrand will be bigger than the usual demons? Usual higher demons? I think he'll probably be in line with he'll probably be a little bit larger than an exalted demon, but I don't think by much. Yeah, I think any prize showed me this one. Here's a shot of the map here. Yeah, but I don't know if this is the whole map, you know? Like, I think this is the whole poster, I think, right? I don't know, it kind of just seems abrupt. Like, we barely get any CATHAY over here. The Mountains of Morin right here. Well, the whole Mountains of Morin right here. We get this portions of the Darklands. I mean, it makes sense as far as, like, you know, what the game would include. And is this the Realm of Chaos? Or is the Realm of Chaos at a separate portion of the map? Like, it's kind of weird. Because if this is the campaign map, we have to assume the Immortal Empires map, which I've always called is the combined map of all 3 games, is going to be an even smaller representation. Look at Ulthuan on the Vortex map compared to Ulthuan on the Mortal Empires map. Totally smaller size, right? So I think that your hair is on upside down. That was a good one, Roger. I think that I feel like there's got to be more, right? I feel like this has got to go further east, or maybe even north and east. I don't know. It just feels like when I see this in the Immortal Empires, is CATHAY going to be a province big? Is the Mountains of Morn going to be 2 provinces big? If you think of factions, DLCs, there's almost no space for other factions besides Chaos Dwarfs and Hobgoblins. I mean, you're right. Hobgoblins, Chaos Dwarfs. That's it. Maybe they did this too to like deliberately not put Koresh and End. Well, End's like right there, and Nippon into it to make it so that to make it feel like not get anyone's hopes up, you know. It is bigger than what you see. Are you saying this is a crease? This is a fold? Is that what you're saying, Revenger? Where's Kislev on this map? Right here. Ostland, Hochland. You'd have Marienburg over here, Midland right there, Nordland, and Northern Southern Oblast. Like, even that is super, super small. There's 3 main cities we're going to be taking a look at, and it looks like they're all like a province away from each other. So, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like this map has been, it's kind of skewed for the medium in which it's being presented. I didn't say the map was 2-sided. I don't know. Aiden did it? Yeah, Mercator Projection. That's the name of it, Travers. Yeah, they do have a Australia Oceania equivalent in Warhammer Fantasy Battles. It's where all the pygmies live. Kidding, they don't. I guess you could make the argument that's where Elithis is. It's just art on the other side? Okay, thanks, Kev. A very small cutoff in the west. Okay, I could see where it's cut off over here. And probably right here to get the rest of Marienburg in. Yeah, I think I want to see it on an actual, in the game itself, because on this map it seems very kind of, it seems super small. It seems like there's such a small amount of actual territory happening in Warhammer 3. I don't think we got an equivalent of this in Warhammer 2 with the collector's editions or anything. To be fair, the pygmies are like barely mentioned. They're like in one Warhammer. The Mountains of Heaven are like right here. It's right at the top of End, right into this little portion that goes down towards it. It'd be like right around there. I wonder how the camera will pan around. That's a good, interesting question. Looks when I said the human. What? Pop on the Doom music. Considering that I think they did well with Khorne. I agree with you, Agamemnon. I guess the kind of, I would have liked to have seen more runes of Tzeentch on the units. Their cloaks have a ton of runes of Tzeentch, so that's kind of cool. But I guess you could kind of make the argument that when it comes to looking at all 4 of the Chaos Gods' respective warriors, it wasn't even until Age of Sigmar and Slaanesh new warriors that Slaanesh even had a super characteristic look. Nurgle always had like a single horn and like enclosed helmets with pus and fat blobby bodies, right? But Tzeentch's warriors were always just kind of like blue colored with runes and like glowing eyes in all the art illustrations. So I guess maybe they try to kind of pull off that beat. But I mean, I agree. I would like to have seen more from them. What are those things that used to live in the mountains of Morn? Sky giants, and any chance going to add them? I don't think so, Jack. And yes, sky giants. Not sure it was right. Is the right one, and this is the compact version. You know what? That's actually a really good point, Revenger. This might be the Immortal Empires version of the campaign map. Do you think the Snakemen of Koresh have a chance of being the V Coast of Game 3? I think either Koresh or Nippon has the chance of being the Vampire Coast of Game 3. Either one. Yeah, you really can't just do green Nurgle followers, to be totally honest, I suppose. Sky Titans, you're right. Sky Titans, not Sky Giants. The Ogres didn't kill all of them. Sky Titans, when they go dormant, they become like mountains. They look like mountains. So some of them are just kind of hiding as mountains. They're hunted to near extinction, though. Sky Titans, not Sky Giants. CA was created with Norska and the coast. I think CA would have come up with something more unique for Tzeentch's mortals if they desired. Yeah, or there might be holding it off for a Mortals DLC. Like, hey, here's all, because remember, this is the Chaos Demons that Warhammer 3 is about. And they might be doing like some sort of like, hey, okay, we've touched on the Chaos Demons. Here is now a Mortals DLC, which I wouldn't be totally crazy about. Like, I wouldn't want this game 3, which is geared around chaos, to not include a bunch of updates to one of the oldest factions in the game to have yet gotten anything. Then just have that pay gated would be kind of shitty. I think that the Hobgoblin Khanate is more likely than Koresh and or Nippon. Glenn, that's not a bad point, especially because they're also in the new Old World map. It's just Great Maw. Just Great Maw, Nicholas. What's CD? Oh, Chaos Dwarfs. Yeah, I definitely think Chaos Dwarfs is like the first campaign pack to come. That's totally my idea, my thought process. I think it was probably easier for them to do Khanate than Koresh and Nippon lore, I think. I would like to see Southern Realms, but I don't think, it's actually, because remember, Empire is the most played faction. Kislev's kind of like an Empire. Oh, that's right, there's the Firemouth with the Fire Bellies. Mom's great too, she does my laundry. Who do I think will be the 9th Lord? I would like to think that it would be, what's her name? Be'lakor. That's my opinion. It might be the 9th Lord is Be'lakor. And that's how we find out about Undivided and possibly Demon Princes and how all those things kind of layer into each other. What's up, Andrew? How you doing, brother? I have to see what Sia does with Nurgle and Slaanesh Mortals. I'm not sure if you've seen any early previews and aren't allowed to talk about it, but I'm a bit worried. I have not seen any previews of Nurgle and Slaanesh. I'm under an NDA, so even if I have, I cannot tell you, but can tell you. If I had seen them and I'm under an NDA, I would have read your comment in my head and not said anything. If that makes you feel better. So I have not seen them. Is my NDA way of saying that I have not seen anything because of an NDA. Nagash, didn't CA already mention in Warhammer 1 and 2 that Nagash won't be in because of his greater power of a chaos god, or greater power of a chaos god? I'm not sure. I could see Nurgle getting Lore of Life. Lore of Nurgle and Lore of Life. Unless I made a mistake. I mean, like I've said before, I have now seen everything you guys have seen. I mean, we can see from, oh, my face hurts. Why does that hurt? It's in the 8th edition rulebook for demons, what they get. But I could see them getting Lore of Life just to make them more tanky. Alright, so Lore of Nurgle or Lore of Death for the Great Unclean One. And Lore of Nurgle. So Death and Nurgle seem to be. And Nurgle I would expect have a lot of regen spells. What do you think of the key building providing victory points? I think it ruins the epic last stand aspect of a siege since the attackers don't have to go past that point to win. Isn't the key building all the way in the back though? Do you think it's possible to get Zangors and Warhammer 3 favorite units here? Andrew, I definitely think so. I mean, they're going to release DLC. And they're going to release probably Tzeentch versus X, or Nurgle versus Y, or Khorne versus A, or Slash versus B. And that would probably give them a chance to bring in Zangors, other types of Beastman units. I could definitely see that happening. Would we get Demon Princes as just undivided or for all 4 Chaos Gods as well? You know, it's hard to say, Hitman. I think unless they're holding back Chaos Demons to say, hey, Be'lakor is Demon Princes. Be'lakor is the 9th Lord. He is a Demon Prince. Here is the Demon Prince lowdown on all the factions, all the Monogods, and the Undivided. I could see that being the case. Oh, okay. I thought there was 2 key buildings and there was a strategic building or strategic point, and that's like the main cap point. And the key buildings just add to your supply versus the other one is like the one that caps the actual siege. I thought that that's how it worked. Should CA step up their communications regardless of where one stands on Tzeentch's Warriors? It was a wildfire discussion CA could have easily put out. Soren, I have made that statement plenty of times. CA needs to increase their communication without, like, it's a double-edged sword, right? You as a game developer cannot be 100% transparent with your marketing because you don't know what's going to change. You don't know if something's going to immediately, hey, development can't finish this in time for a marketing sprint, so sorry, we just can't do that. You can't commit to a schedule that is not meetable by dev. Marketing doesn't dictate dev, dev dictates marketing. It can't ever be the other way around. Or else you get a game that comes out like shit. So I think that transparency, though, in light of stuff like, hey, why doesn't this look like this, would help CA. Hey, the reason we've done that is because of this, this, and this. But then you run into another issue of, well, we can't explain that if we have a DLC planned or something like that. So I think that game companies run into a really sticky situation where you have so many working parts and layers and such a huge, say, launch cycle or such a huge post-launch cycle that it really kind of makes a lot of artificial walls about things you can and cannot talk about. Like people being pissed off about Mortal Warriors. Like I said, maybe there is a Mortal DLC coming and they're like, yeah, Mortal Warriors, they just don't look right yet, right? Later, bye. That I think is like, that I think is the problem. They can't talk about certain things because I'm sure that there's just a pitfall in any one of their statements. But I guess, yeah, having the conversation of, you know, the reason we decided to go with this is for this decision or whatever the hell it was. But I think no matter what, no matter what I say about what I would want increased transparency wise, you run into some sort of issue with something. It's like saying, well, why can't they just add this button to this thing in this game? It's like, okay, because there's 50 things that are connected to this, and adding just a button is so much more than just simply turning something on and off. It's not a Boolean operator that's a true or false, you know? You think the actual Warrior of Chaos faction is going to change with Game 3? Maybe splitting or choosing one god or anything, or are they going to stay undivided? We don't know yet, Sess, but I definitely want to see some more news or information about how Undivided gets affected with Warhammer 3. No problem, Soren. I'm happy to do it, dude. Really appreciate your calls for civility and not shying away from constructive discussions with fans and viewers. Absolutely, dude. Not a problem. Because I feel like, I mean, and I'm just being honest, we're all hanging out on Reddit, we're all hanging out on forums, we're all hanging out on YouTube videos with specific content creators or in their comment section, and those are echo chambers. And, you know, I do get the benefit of being able to talk to Creative Assembly, and I've had the benefit of going over to their office and having conversations with them about things that you guys have said, like, hey, well, I don't like this in Warhammer 2 or Warhammer 1. And I've been able to understand why those things happen. And of course, you know, I'm covered on certain things like NDAs, so I couldn't talk about them at times or whatnot and what have you. But I think that there's so much, you can get caught up very easily in an internet echo chamber. Either way, right? Like of praise or, you know, admonishment, maybe not the term I'm thinking of, but either way. And it can lead you to kind of specifically thinking a specific way. Like, and I had talked about this in the last stream, saying like, you know, you believe features that were not there, that were never announced to begin with, because one person said it sounded cool, a lot of people co-opt that, and it just became something that just jumps into the general nebulous of the echo chamber. Like when I was working at GameStop, one guy who maybe knows fighting games would talk about a feature for a fighting game that was coming out that I knew nothing about. I'm like, that sounds pretty fucking cool. I would buy that game if that was there. We all would talk about that feature. The game would come out. The feature wouldn't be there because we found out that we just misheard it. And it just is, sometimes you get stuck in those little kind of like cosmoses or microcosms of just information recycling itself and recycling itself and recycling itself. And if you're so excited about something, even the slightest deviation can really kill your thunder. Or if you're so excited about something, even the littlest hint can really boost your hype. So it just is, you just kind of have to put yourself into perspective of your level of hype and your expectations. Yeah, dude, Warriors of Chaos is miserable to play in Warhammer 1 or 2. I noticed that in the Khorne versus CATHAY siege, Khorne took the middle point and the victory bar started increasing. I actually have not seen it. I have not watched any of the fights unless we've watched them together. Do you think YouTube's new policy on dislikes being only viewable by creators is stupid too? I don't know, man. As someone who has 2 or 3 videos with a high proportion of dislikes, like the marketing video, it's got something like 76% likes. People will bandwagon. People will see one thing over another and jump onto it. A lot of people are negative. A lot of people will be negative. It's easier to be negative. It's like the old adage, right, of being like, being bad or evil is easy, being good is hard, because you have to stick to a morality standpoint. Anything like that, like it's like being negative on the internet is the easiest thing to do in the world, and everyone picks up on it, and people like to bandwagon on negativity. Batman versus Superman was a really good example of everyone going, the movie didn't make any sense. I'm like, yeah, well, if you fucking listen, it did. Like, and that might be a hot take. Some people don't like that movie. I just think that likes and dislikes is something that it's a shitty metric to begin with. And it's always going to flow one way or another. Like upvotes and downvotes on Reddit, same thing. You know, it's just people will flow with the course. If someone said something that's like a minor pedantic statement and he gets 2 dislikes, doesn't matter how valid that statement is, it'll start to just skyrocket down. People go, yeah, fuck this dude. It's a really weird like psychology with likes and dislikes. We are getting so off track. Remember when we were talking about Warhammer? I really need more strong diplomacy dialogue memes in Game 3. Thank you very much, Jax. Throwing in a $5 dono here towards the end of our stream. And we are coming up to the end of our stream. Total War Warcraft? Whew. Hope to God that never happens. I don't want Blizzard to touch anything. People get high expectations and love to get upset when it doesn't meet their or others' ideas of what the game will be. I mean, you're totally right. I never knew his mom's name was Martha. Made the whole movie worthwhile for me. Dude, if you have not seen the Batman vs. Superman director's cut, you need to watch it. It adds maybe like 25 to 40 seconds at the end of almost every single scene, and it makes the motivation for characters make a lot more sense. Warcraft is just a diet Warhammer anyway. Ooh, hot take. Total War in some anime. Total War Naruto. Oh my god, could you imagine that? Everything single entities. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and roll some credits here. Let's give out some thank yous. If you guys have any other last minute questions, please, by all means, go ahead and let me know. Imagine Kugoth, Plaguefather, Naruto running through the Realm of Chaos. We did get some donations here today, though, so let's go through those. Let's give some thank yous out, some bros. Blink before the end of the stream if there's going to be a 4-player FFA campaign. Dude, I hope, I wish, I don't know, I want to know. What are you most excited for in this next game?
Thank you for the donation.
Chaos Dwarfs. That's the thing I'm the most excited for. And we don't know, we're not confirmed if they're in. I'm pretty sure they're coming. I mean, you can't have the Game 3 and that map without having Chaos Dwarfs. Thank you very much, Rowinger. Throwing in the big donation here at the end. Let's go ahead and just give out some thank yous though here. So we got Grandpa Nurgle starting us off with a €5 donation. Rowinger with a total of 300 Norwegian Kronu donation. Thank you very much, man. Adam Cutler with a $10 donation. Matt Smith with a $20 from Canada donation. Jordan Hill with, I think, 50 Swedish Kronu. I think that's what that one is. Revelance with a $5 donation, a Leaf with another $5, and then Jack with a $5 donation here as well. Thank you, gentlemen, all very, very, very much for your donations here today. Thank you guys for watching, having some fun here with me. I know we went way off track, but that tends to be what happens with my streams. I like to have fun, talking about random shit all the time. Kugoth Naruto running is me running to the fridge at 3 a.m. to eat shredded cheese. Oh, I love fucking shredded cheese, man. I love shredded cheese. I'm on a cut diet. I've lost 6% body fat since I started doing it. I was at 223 pounds at 24, 25% body fat. Now I'm 205 at 19% body fat. And I miss Taco Bell. And I miss shredded cheese. I miss handfuls of shredded cheese into my fucking mouth at 11 goddamn p.m. Like, I don't care. I miss it so much. 4 cheese Mexican blend. I'm gonna put it in my goddamn mouth. Oh. Ross, I'm gonna do a tournament tomorrow, my man. We're gonna host it. Sharp cheddar shredded for lunch sometimes. That is a hot dick right there. If you look at the Ogre Kingdom contracts, they have orcs as a placeholder for Chaos Dwarfs. Ooh. Like that. Mighty Mass, thanks for joining in, man. Cheese eating stream when? I don't say a word. I eat a whole pound of shredded cheese while looking into the camera. And I'm not even going to mukbang it. The mic is going to be as far from me as possible. All you're going to hear is the bag going. Mattia, I see you speaking Italian. Non parlo italiano, fratello. My whole family does, but I don't. I don't get to speak Italian. Maintain eye contact during the cheesing. Why do feet always smell like cheddar? Because you have a foot fungus. You have an absolute foot fungus. You need to get that checked. Well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you watching. All cheese, no breaks. Stream tomorrow. Come on down for sharp cheddar. We got Jack. We got some pepper Jack coming in hot. When do you think the last two demon factions will be revealed? Probably both by the end of the year, is what I'm assuming. One by the end of this month and one by the end of next month, hopefully. Do a maintenance phase and then hit 10% body fat? Can't maintain and drop body fat. I'm going to keep cutting down to 15%. Then I'm going to bulk back up to like 18% body fat, but just hopefully gain like 15 pounds of just pure buttery fucking muscle. Probably not. Who knows? I have a six-pack for the first time in my life, though. And I've always wanted to have that as a former fat kid. Now that I've got one, I'm like, it's not as cool when you're not as strong. Oh, I see what you mean, Jeff. I probably actually should. I have a friend helping me with my actual diet. Like, I used to do my diet and everything like that when I was competing in Olympic lifting all the time. And now that I'm not competing, you know, a pandemic and all that, it's harder, and especially because I've done it competitively for so long, it's harder to maintain a specific like weight and everything like that. So I have a friend who does it for me. Like, hey, here's your diet. Here's what you're going to do. And it's easier for me to, it keeps me accountable because I don't have a weight class I've got to stay within. And on top of it, when you make your own diet and you don't have a weight class or anyone else kind of like checking up on you, it's easier for you to kind of go like, I'm just going to eat this whole bag of shredded cheese. Who cares? You know, it's easier when you don't have like that accountability. Like you're not doing it for anything other than yourself. So having like, he does the diet, I weigh myself twice a week and I send it to him, and he tweaks my macros or my TDE, and we kind of like go from there. It's his friend Sigmar, a huge beard. Then I also have a strength and conditioning coach because I was doing my own programs and I got lazy with that, and I'm like, fuck, I should probably hit up my Russian strength coach again. But then you have gotten small. I hope. I also injured my knee. Not the actual knee. I injured my VMO because I had a deficiency in my adductor and a weak glute and a tight hip. All those things together. Fuck, man. Yeah, I've read that too, where you kind of hit like a 2-week maintenance phase, basically bringing all your levels back to normal, then drop back into it. It's kind of the same principle of if you go to the gym 5-6 days a week and you do it for 5 years and you never take a break, your body adapts that level of stress. And if you actually give yourself like 2-3 weeks off of the gym period, your body's ability to adapt to stress has reduced. So when you go back to the gym, you basically get that same level of like, oh, I'm new at the gym, I'm getting all these gains. It's like your body kind of plateaus hard because it's adapted. It knows you're going to hurt it every day at this time, so it adapts to it. You pulled your pec or tore it while benching yesterday. You probably didn't tear it. Were you doing, if you were doing standard bench, you might have not tensed properly and your muscle was going to elongate and you maybe put tension to it and it went like that. So depending on which pec it is, take your fingers, put them right here at the top where the pec meets your, like if here's your collarbone, right here. Press down, look away, and pull. That should help you out. Ooh, that's a rip. No. Did it sound like a pop or a rip? Because you can definitely... I had to ditch the bar on my tummy. Referee. Try that out. See how that feels. Kind of feel it palpitate. Palpitate. A rip. Is your shoulder going like this? Anything like that? Because a lot of those pec muscles, when they rip or something like that, you'll usually get anterior, what's it called? Not tilt. This muscle will compensate, and it kind of causes that. So if this is up and raised, it might have happened. A rip, you'd know though. There would be a lot of bruising. You'd get a discoloration. Ross would know. He's a doctor. Yeah, get a lacrosse ball in there. Kind of feel around. Like I said, you'll definitely know. Usually. Shouldn't? Okay. Whoopsies. Don't listen to me because I'm not a doctor. At least Ross knew what I was talking about. It's super easy to pull your chest. You'd also feel a frank gap in muscle or tendon. Oh yeah, you would. I fucked up my ankle badly at my wrestling training in September. The doctor told me it's very bad. It's going to take 5 months, including... Ooh. I was doing dips like 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I went down, and I double extended over my chest, so my muscle had already kind of been like shortened, and I went to elongate it, and I felt it go like, and I felt it pop right here, right at the sternum, and I thought maybe I displaced a rib or something, but I really got in there like this and dug around to find where it was tender and ground it up. You're gonna go soft and then hard. You have to go soft to kind of like basically kind of get in there, and then you're gonna press into it and really kind of open up, because the muscle has gone like this. It's guarding. You need to get it to kind of go like that again. Yeah, I fucked up. Like I accidentally tilted forward to readjust my hands, and then I applied pressure and tension and went. Pfft. Remember this was a Warhammer stream, and now we're talking about body anatomy? In general, I don't really bench. I'll use free weights. I'll use free weights if anything. It's like, that's also one of those things when someone asks you how much you bench, you're like, you don't take the gym very seriously, do you? Like, I've told people, yeah, I compete in Olympic weightlifting. They go, oh yeah, what's your bench? I'm like, what the fuck? No? Not Slaneshi at all. Other than that time you talked about taking a poop. We can talk about poop, guys. You know, that's the thing is like, so being just a normal gym bro, right? Doing like powerlifting, quote unquote, and then getting into Olympic lifting and competing with that, you learn, like, you get all these micro injuries. Basically, leading up to a meet, it's 9 to 12 weeks out, you would start a program of progressive load, obviously, where you would be doing more and more, right? So to give you an example of my program, when I was actually competing and everything, would be Monday would be full cleans. I'm sorry, power cleans and power snatch. Then Tuesday would be power cleans. Full cleans with snatch accessories. Wednesday would be full snatch with clean accessories. And then Thursday would usually be no complex lifts, just the actual accessories. Friday would be power of both. And then I would squat 3 times a day and press 3 times a week and 4 times a week. And the amount of constant beating and butchering of your body, you learn how to constantly like fine-tune little tiny micro injuries you'll get, like, oh, you know, joint or ligament in my elbow is now hurting. And you go to a guy, you go to like a PT, he tells you this, or you go to like someone who does grass and so on and so forth. So you learn, okay, to release this muscle over here, you have to put pressure back here. Oh, I've got tension here. Well, that's probably because you have a tight like scap or something like that. Like you learn all this stuff and you learn just a really functional knowledge of your body. It's like, man, my knees hurt. Okay, well, your knees are probably hurting because you have tight quads or a tight hip and it's pulling up, or is it pulling down? Like there's so much stuff. How do you recover from 3 days squats? You don't. You just keep doing it. And that's what we did. Power snatch sounds like a demon of Slanesh. Ah, my lady power snatch is here. Or pincer. Oh. All right. I've talked enough about random bullshit. I'm sorry, guys. We've gone so far off course. Jeff Brunel, what's my take on AI Siege? Until I actually play the game, I don't have a take on it. I think that's probably the most safe thing to say. The game's still in development. They're still working on things. I didn't take a look at the Siege to really know much about it. And I do know it was on normal difficulty, so I haven't had enough to really kind of go off of yet. Oh, dude, feet stuff is so huge. I was squatting for 8 years without proper application of force through my feet. You're supposed to have 3 points of contact. Big toe, right outside of your feet, and your heels. I was like squatting like that, just through the ball of my foot. So much pressure on my quads and on my little patella tendons and knees in general. Strained my VMO, which is the muscle that goes on the left inside of your left or right, the inside of your knee and back towards your thigh. Strained that, like I said, found out that it was because I had a very tight hip, a weak glute, all that weight rather than dispensing evenly down my leg and foot was going down my quad over my VMO, and my foot would, rather than be like this, would flare out. So it would just kind of just land square on it. So it just pulled, and I learned to kind of change everything I do. But dude, learning to properly apply force through my feet has been the biggest game changer to lifting in my life. Ross is like, ah. I got lucky though, man. A little strained VMO, that's not a ligament tear. I'll take it. Released images they published. There was one image of CATHAY and Tzeentch that 3 looking chaos chosen with Shield of Tzeentch. I wouldn't know which one that is, Enos. All the ones we have are on Steam. I'm pretty sure of it. And it happened like, I think 3 months ago now, Ross. And at this stage, like my leg, I had a lot of internal rotation that has gone away for the most part. It would be like this. Like if here's my quad and here's your shin, it'd be like that. Now it's actually in line. Yeah, exactly. It could have been my MCL, my ACL, a meniscus. Meniscus, not as worried about. ACL, very worried about. Yeah, unfortunately you can't paste any links, Enos. I'm sorry about that, man. Sergei Borisov. What a name. But meniscus tears are usually just like, they go in and they just, right? It seems like it's such a, they just file that motherfucker down. ACL tears, pop open that kneecap, put a new little guy in there. Robert, you need to do steroids. Don't do steroids. It was a joke. I have a lot of friends who have torn their ACLs, and a lot of them have done HGH and steroids. They're fine now, but they're on steroids. Which leads to a slew of other issues. I do have body dysmorphia and body image issues, Grant. It is very Slaneshi. All right, guys. I'm shutting the stream down. I'm getting depressed reading about meniscus tears and ACL tears. Oh my god. Ooh. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. I know we went totally off base towards the end here, but had a lot of fun discussing random things. As always, my bros. If you have any questions, anything like that, feel free to leave them in the comments after the fact if you are watching this after the fact. But we'll be back here tomorrow, I think, with a Age of Empires 4 tournament, and then more information with Total War Warhammer 3 as it is coming. Thank you to all the members who tuned in today. Ross, been seeing you all day. Rewinger, I know you've been here. We had Travers in the house as well. We had Inyo in as well. We had some other folk. And thanks to everyone who threw in some donations today. As always, they mean a ton to me. Later, Ross. Later, Eshin. Rainmar, have a good one, brother. Rewinger, thank you very much for watching, man. Of course. Don't apologize, sorry. Mighty Mass. I had to like check my TFL and stuff like that. I'm like, is it okay? Later, Jeff. Good talking with you, brother. Jake's Tree and Turf. What a name. All right, guys. But everyone have a good one. Wash your hands. Stay safe. And we'll see you on the next stream. But have a good one and